happy past Memorial Day. Actually, I did do what I said I was going to do, and I did already film a vlog for our Bible study for, Psalm 1. Unfortunately, I looked it over and I thought, you know what? I can do better. And you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do better. So, we are in our Bible study and we are in Psalm number 1. And I would like all y'all ladies, or men, or whoever's on here, to please turn with me in your Bibles to Psalm number 1, the first book of Psalms. So Psalms is separated into 5 different books. This is the introduction to book number 1, which is the first Psalm. So I will also be reading and doing all of this in King James Version. I love King James Version. I have my own convictions about why I read out of the King James, but I see nothing wrong with like an ESV, whatever. So just try to follow along as best you can. Let's get started, shall we? So, Psalm 1, verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. All right, let's get it started, right? Okay, so this is the first psalm. It's also known as the preface to all the psalms, is Psalm number 1. It has a contrast of the righteous man versus the wicked man, and then also a picture of who God is. It's pretty basic, right? When we actually dig into it, I'm going to kind of separate this into parts. So we have the righteous man, the ungodly man, and then the Lord at the very end. So the righteous man, he ignores the advice of the wicked, and he stays away from guys like that. He doesn't hang out, I guess at bars. He doesn't hang out with men that he knows aren't godly and aren't going to lead him in a good direction. He also has prosperity, and he has the fruit of following the Lord. And it's really kind of interesting because I have a keyword search Bible. I love my Bible. It's amazing. And in my Bible, it's a study Bible, they talk about how the use of the word, so it talks about in the first verse, blessed is the man that does not walk in the counsel of the ungodly. So the use of the word blessed in this case is used when it's concerning conduct. You're blessed because you do something. Okay, so you do something good, then that means you're blessed. So it's a contrast from where it's used in Psalm 32. And when blessed is used in Psalm 32, it's blessed because God has forgiven you. So God forgave you, so now you're being blessed, type thing. So it's, it just depends on context, like everything else. See for context. If, say, you hear a verse, you got to get the context of it. Sort of like, if you have somebody that's yelling at you, oh, you're judging and you shouldn't judge. You need the context of that verse, because it's judge not lest ye be judged, because for whatsoever measure you put to others, there shall you also meet. So it's basically saying not to judge hypocritically. And if you skip forward a couple chapters, because that was John 7, and if you skip to John 9, I could be wrong, so yeah. If you skip ahead to John 9, Jesus flat out says, judge not hypocritically. So that's kind of, okay. So everything in context, right? Everything in context. For example, if, you hear somebody say something negative about you, but you walked in the middle of the conversation, it could either A, not be about you at all, B, not be in the context that you think it is, or, it could just be flat out untrue, or they could be, saying it with hyperbole or whatever, So, I mean, it's just, context is everything. All right. So, anyway, there are a lot of really, really good verses that follow up with this, including Psalm 119, verse 115, which is, "Depart from me, ye evildoers, for I will keep the commandments of my God." So it's basically, this guy is just like, I'm not being around people like this. I'm just not. So also in Jeremiah 17:8, "For he shall be a tree planted by the waters." So that's a beautiful image, isn't it? That's a beautiful image, because I know that I live in an area where they have planted quite a few trees, and you can tell which ones are actually doing well and which aren't. I also have a lot of plants myself. I'm the crazy plant lady. When I moved, I started out with 11 plants, and now I think I'm slowly killing them because I moved them outdoors because bad things happen with aphids. I moved them outdoors. Neither here nor there. So I moved them outdoors, and they don't like me because they're in the sun. They're in the southernmost part of my condo. And with the sun bearing down on them, they are withering and they are dying, and I feel really bad, but I can't put them out the front, so it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Anyway, but it's a beautiful picture that's painted in this psalm. It's beautiful, where he talks about it's a tree that's by the river, and it's just sopping up all that moisture, and it's getting all that sun, and its leaves aren't withering because it's not lacking anything. When you stand in good counsel and you stand in godly counsel, are you lacking in anything? Really? You have wisdom and knowledge to be able to be in just a fruitful season. You're just in a fruitful season, and you're in that season all the time, because of who you're planting yourself by. You're planting yourself by the river, right? And that is godly counsel. And that's kind of the picture that they have. This tree is planted by the river of water, and it brings forth good season and fruit. So it's just sort of like, bad company corrupts good manners. It's one of those things, again. So now on to the wicked, which of course is always a fun place to be. From the Matthew Henry commentary I was reading in preparation for this Bible study, I learned an interesting little phrase that I cannot, for the life of me, say because it is in Latin, so you're welcome. But I'm going to try, and then give you generally okay. So, nemo repente fit terripissimus. Sounds exciting. So basically what it says is, none reach the height of vice at once. So basically, if you are purposefully putting yourself in the hands of someone who is not exactly an upright kind of person, then maybe, just maybe, you will eventually start becoming like that person. And what is that? What's the secret of life from Girl Meets World, if any of you are parents and you watch that? The secret of life is people change people, which is true. People change people. So if you surround yourself with good influences, who will you be like? You'll be like your good influences. One of the things that I noticed when I first got married is that I was becoming more and more like my husband. And I was like, okay. And he was also becoming more and more like me. We were changing each other. We were becoming more like ourselves and more like each other. And it was kind of a weird thing. But it's a good thing because the two must become one, right? And that's part of that oneness. We become like each other. We think like each other. And that helps us to love each other more. But, there have been so many times in my marriage where I have needed spiritual guidance, and my husband has given that to me. And that has been, I love my husband, and those moments make me love him even more. But, think about it like this. So you're having a hard time, and you have two different friends, okay? You have one friend who is a Christian by name only, and then you have another friend who, you see every week at church and is there and she's in ministry and all this good stuff, right? So say you end up going through a hard time, like like a family member died, say, and it hit you really hard. And you have these two girlfriends or friends, wherever they are, who are trying to comfort you. And how different do you think their comforts are going to be to you? You have the godly girl who is just like, okay, well, let's read the Bible together. I'll pray over you. Let's go get coffee together. We can talk. So, you have different kinds of help in different forms. And you're influenced by who you're influenced by. You just are. You just are. Okay, so, and then also I would like to talk a little bit about chaff. Chaff blowing in the wind, or chaff, or however you would like to call it. I'm sure it's pronounced chaff, now that I think about it. Chaff is basically the husk of a seed. So if you have a seed like wheat, that's generally what they're talking about is wheat, or corn, like a corn husk, if you ever boiled your own corn at home, or whatever. This is lightweight material that is easy to blow away. They don't stick around long. They don't have anything to root. They're not the seed. They don't have anything that can actually root them into the ground. They just kind of blow away. They get used as nests, or they just kind of, they just go away. They're just not there. And anyhoozle. So, let's see here. Get rid of that one. Get rid of it. Oh yeah, depart from me. I yeah. Okay, so last but not least, we will be talking about the Lord. He was in the very, 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 very last verse in there. And he knows everyone's inner character. He knows exactly who and what most influences us. And I think it's really important for us to do self-evaluation of who am I allowing to influence me, what is their character, and what characteristics am I allowing to influence me. You could have a person that you're friends with that you witness to that isn't really influencing you all that much. Or you could have somebody that's your best friend who says they're a Christian and grew up in the church, but, she keeps trying to get you to go drinking with her every night, and you're becoming less and less resistant. It's all a matter of situation and depending, but it's always good to have sort of an evaluation of, what are my influences and how am I influencing others? And that's an even harder question. How am I influencing? Am I being a good influence in, showing people the Lord? Am I being a good influence in my home? Am I being a good influence in my neighborhood, at my church? Am I a good influence, or am I the kind of person that people should probably stay away from? So it's a good evaluation right there as well. I do have some verses. Okay. Well, anyway, that leads me to Jeremiah 12:3. So, but thou, O Lord, knowest me, thou hast seen me, and tried mine heart towards thee. So God knows who we are on the inside. I think sometimes he allows influences in our lives just so that he can see what we do with them. Or allows people to become friends of ours just to see what we'll do with them and how we'll react with them. If they're a bad influence, how will we, move this around? How will we maybe not hang out with this person? Things like that. How are we going to handle it? Or if it is a godly person, how are we going to keep that friendship? How are we going to keep it intact? Things like that. And there are a lot of differences too, I think. In modern culture, we have people that might be saved and might have had a good footing with God, but are waxing worse and worse. And then you have people that, are actually growing in the Lord. And I think that's really interesting when you look at, I'm going to cut this whole section, so you're welcome. Okay. And also Matthew 6:6, which states, but thou, when thou prayest, entered into thy closet, when thou hast shut the door, pray to thy Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret reward thee openly. God sees everything. He knows our prayer closet. He knows our prayer lives. He knows our book reading lives. He knows everything. And so extremely important, I think, especially in this day and age when you can go onto any chat room, you can look up anything. You absolutely can, and you can be influenced. I think the internet is a huge influencer. So for me, when I'm on there, I have to watch, because it changes my attitude, right? When I'm on the internet, it changes my attitude depending on what sort of things I let through my filters, right? So if I'm following a page that is an animal page, and then every once in a while they have like, say they're sponsored by Budweiser or something, they have like a Budweiser ad. If that is messing with me or influencing me, I'm not going to like that page. You know what I'm saying? Or I used to follow a couple of different pastors, but they were getting so hardcore, this is end of times and whatever. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they were going so far into trying to figure out what Revelation said. And I think the whole point is we're not supposed to know when the end of times is. Like, we know that it's waxing worse and worse, but we're not supposed to know. That's like the whole point. That's the whole point, is we're not supposed to know. So we're supposed to live in readiness for the end, because we don't know. Like, YOLO, I don't know. So anyway, and I had to stop following those guys, because it was, it was leading me down this mental path of just, I would go on Facebook, then I'd be depressed forever. Like, I'm just depressed. As opposed to, going on Facebook and, going down with, oh, I followed like 15 like puppy pages. They're all so cute. So, I mean, yeah. Like, these apps do what you want them to do, I think, for the most part. So I think we need to, where are we allowing to influence us? All right. So anyway, I am going to give you guys memory verse and then questions for next week. So let me get this over here. Our memory verse, memory verses, would be Jeremiah 17:7 and 8. So, 7, blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. For he shall be as a tree planted by the waters, and that spreadeth out her roots by the river, and shall not see when heat cometh, but her leaf shall be green, and shall not care for the year of drought, neither shall cease from yielding fruit. So that is your memory verse for this week. And the questions are, how do you picture God? Do you picture him as more loving or more wrathful? And how does this affect your everyday decision making? So, I mean, it could not. I mean, generally, when I buy groceries, I'm not thinking about whether or not God is more wrathful or more loving. I'm not. But it can affect how you answer day-to-day questions like, does God love me? Or how, say, if you get into a fight with someone, are you reacting because you're insecure because you believe that you're not worth being loved? Or are you reacting because you have this overinflated I'm entitled mentality? So, I mean, it's different decision making that impacts how we view ourselves and how we view the world. And so that's what I'm kind of trying to get at. Anyway, guys, click here. I love you guys so much. Thank you for part 1. Well, thank you for joining me with Psalm 1 and for our Psalm 1 Bible study. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, I will see you guys later. And I thought I was going to be doing 2 Bible studies this week, but I think I'm only going to be doing the one because last week I thought I would be able to do, sorry, wipe off my screen. I thought I'd be able to, with Labor Day weekend being what it was, things happened. So I will just see you guys next week. Thank you so much. I love you guys so much. Have a great rest of your week and enjoy reading Psalm 2. Okay, love you. Bye.